Would you believe that Crawford's really retired?
I do.
What do you think?
On Tuesday, December 17th, the boxing world came to a screeching halt. Just 3 months after delivering the greatest performance of this century, a masterclass unanimous decision over Canelo Alvarez, Terence "Bud" Crawford did the unthinkable. He didn't announce a rematch. He didn't call out a new challenger. He walked away. At 42-0, sitting on a throne of gold that spans 3 weight classes, the king has officially left the building. But while the rest of the world is scrambling to make sense of this sudden exit, one man isn't surprised at all. In fact, if you've been listening closely, you know that Roy Jones Jr. has been predicting this exact move for months.
Is he better than Floyd Mayweather?
To me, he is because he challenges himself. So for me, don't get me wrong, Floyd ain't no bad fighter. Floyd is a hell of a sharp fighter, but I ain't gonna say he's a better fighter. I'm gonna say I just can appreciate it more because he challenges himself. You understand me? Floyd never challenged himself. So if you tell me who I want to see, Floyd or Terence, I want to see Terence, because Terence gonna challenge himself. Floyd may be a better fighter because Floyd is slick and Floyd really can fight. People know I don't underestimate Floyd's boxing ability. Floyd has great boxing ability. Floyd is one of the best ever, but Floyd just never challenged himself. So
Roy Jones Jr. saw this coming because he's lived it. The specific timing of Crawford's retirement feels like a direct response to a warning Roy has been shouting from the rooftops, "Get out while you're a god." When news broke this week, cameras caught up with Roy in Miami to get his immediate reaction. There was no shock on his face, no hesitation. When asked if he believed Bud was truly gone for good, Roy's answer was instant and chillingly calm. I do. This wasn't a man guessing. This was a legend validating the smartest move in boxing history. Roy didn't view this as a tragedy. He viewed it as a narrow escape.
I think he did the right thing.
Why is that?
I just take my hat off to any fighter that says to themselves that this is enough, and being able to walk away without, fighting with themselves about, I gotta take this fight. He's made enough money to take care of him and his family, so.
Well, no, you don't. I mean, know Terence a little bit, but you're not close to him or anything. But thoughts on that? I mean, most boxers of his caliber seem to retire, come back, and that kind of thing. Do you think he's the kind of guy that's going to be tempted to do that, or do you think he's someone that, is going to be able to walk away and stay walked away?
Well, only time can tell that. But I applaud him for doing it because there's always too many fighters that stay in boxing way too long.
To understand why Roy is so adamant that this is the right call, you have to look at the trap Crawford just sidestepped. After dismantling Canelo in September, the pressure for a rematch was astronomical. The money on the table would have been generational. But Roy Jones Jr. was the loudest voice in the room telling Crawford to turn his back on it. His logic was brutal but undeniable. You beat the larger man once, you've made your statement. You fight him again, and you are gambling with physics. Roy knew that a rematch offered Crawford nothing but risk. By walking away now, Crawford leaves as the man who conquered the face of boxing, rather than the man who stayed long enough to become a stepping stone.
So where do you think his standing all time goes? It was a couple fights ago, people were saying, well, yeah, he's got all these wins, all these titles, but no one's ever heard anybody's fought. Then he fought Errol Spence and dominated Errol Spence, but Errol's, that fight there was, going in, people was 50-50, but, maybe Errol was compromised. But then, Canelo goes in a big underdog, moves up a bunch of weight to fight, another legend in Canelo and beats him. So do you think he's done enough to cement himself as a, top 5 kind of guy, or do you think he's, obviously a Hall of Famer, but do you think he's just, for lack of a better word, not to be disrespectful, but another Hall of Famer?
Well, I think that it depends on whoever you talk to. Some people think he's the greatest fighter ever. But, so that's just an opinion. So, I think that he walks away right now, we're winning the biggest fight of his career that a lot of people thought he had no chance of winning, and he won convincingly. And there ain't really nothing left for him to prove. I mean, there's other fights out there, of course, but there's always going to be fights out there.
This is where it gets personal. Roy Jones Jr.'s reaction is deeply rooted in his own painful history. He sees a version of himself in Crawford, specifically the version that destroyed John Ruiz to win the heavyweight title. In candid interviews leading up to this moment, Roy admitted a hard truth that clearly haunts him. If I retired after I beat Ruiz, we wouldn't be having conversations about the greatest of all time. He knows that his decision to keep fighting, to come back down in weight and face Antonio Tarver, chipped away at a legacy that should have been untouchable.
Let's get you to watch it.
I don't want to see it as important. First of all, if Antonio Tarver tell you the truth, he didn't fight a prime Roy Jones. If he fought a prime Roy Jones, he fought him before he went to the heavyweight division. You know what I'm saying? He didn't fight a prime Roy Jones. He fought a depleted Roy Jones. And a guy who wasn't even as depleted as Roy Jones was, which was when he fought Bernard Hopkins, he wasn't as depleted as I was because he lost fat. I lost muscle. He lost fat and got down and fought Bernard, and he said, now he see what I'm talking about. He got beat by Bernard because he was depleted. So don't tell me I was in my prime then. I was not. Had I fought him before I went to heavyweight, that wouldn't happen that way. And he know that too. They just don't want to tell you the truth about it. So why do people only want to talk to him about Roy Jones Jr.? Because that's the only thing he ever did. He beat Superman when Superman had to sacrifice and lost put on 25 pounds of muscle, then snatched off 25 pounds of muscle. That's when you beat Superman after he had been exposed to kryptonite. You couldn't have touched Superman before that.
By urging Crawford to quit now, Roy is essentially trying to rewrite history through Terence. He wanted Bud to have the perfect ending that Roy himself missed out on. Even in the chaos of retirement, there was drama. Reports surfaced of friction between Crawford and the WBC regarding sanctioning fees and titles on his way out. When pressed on this, Roy stayed completely neutral, washing his hands of the politics. "It ain't got nothing to do with me," he said, refusing to get dragged into the messy side of the belt organizations. He respects the bodies that legitimize champions, but his focus remains strictly on the legacy, not the lawsuits.
I do.
Well, what do you think about his issue with the WBC sanctioning?
I don't want to talk about it. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It wasn't me. I don't know enough about it to talk about it. So I know that I do have respect for WBC, WBA, IBF, and WBO. So I always respect him. I always did what I had to do. And without those guys, we wouldn't have known who the champions were. So I can't say nothing against them. He may have his own personal vendetta with him. I don't know enough about it to say whether he was right or wrong. So, it's what it is.
For Roy, the belts don't matter anymore because Crawford has transcended them. The moment Bud said, "I'm done," the conversation shifted instantly to who is left to fill the void.
What are your thoughts?
Because it's the thing about it. If he says it's the right time, it's the right time for him.
Yeah.
We don't really know how hard it is for him to, things like 38, 39, to train and prepare for that. It's very hard at that age. I mean, then you can't train all the time because you need time to rest. You have the family, you have the kids. So it's like he did everything he needs to do in the sport of boxing. And really, people shouldn't even ask for more. I mean, if they ask for more, it's like, what else you want them to do?
Exactly. He conquered a lot of things.
Right. I mean, he's done everything he needs to do. And at the same time, it's like, it's his time. If he wants to go, he thinks it's time to check out. Because the longer you stay, there's younger guys out there.
Father time, right?
The most important thing about boxing is, which a lot of people, they talk about athleticism, right?
Yeah.
But athleticism is fleeting.
Yeah.
So what that means is you lose that every day of the week. Yeah. Every day you get slower and slower and slower and slower and slower. So you can't base your whole career off athleticism, right? And he's a fighter that has a lot of great athleticism. So you got to let it go. I mean, you can't do it forever because it's leaving you anyway.
Absolutely, definitely. You got to listen to your body, right?
Right, that's right. Yeah. You can't worry about what people think. They want more. How much more you want?
They want to squeeze it till it's empty.
That's right. Yeah, you're right. You gotta let it go.
You got to walk away sometimes.
Right. Yeah. Right.
You don't want boxing to retire. You want to retire boxing.
That's right. You want to know when to fold and know when to walk away.
That song.
Because when you stay too long, it's never good.
It looks bad.
Right.
With Crawford officially out of the picture, the vacuum at the top of the sport is massive. But Roy Jones Jr. didn't hesitate when asked who takes the spot as the #1 fighter on the planet. Usyk. Without a question, it's a definitive passing of the torch. In Roy's eyes, Alexander Usyk is the only other fighter operating on that genius frequency. It's a fascinating shift, acknowledging that while Crawford was the pound-for-pound king, his departure immediately elevates Usyk to that undisputed status. It settles the debate before it even really begins.
Roy, who's the best fighter in boxing right now?
Right now, if he retires, if Terence retires, it's gotta be Usyk.
Who?
Usyk.
Usyk is the best.
Without a question, if Terence
it.
retires, it's gotta be Usyk now.
Roy isn't the only legend nodding in approval. Shakur Stevenson, one of the sharpest young minds in the game, echoed Roy's sentiments almost word for word. Shakur publicly stated that if he were in Bud's shoes, he'd do the exact same thing. "I already proved y'all everything," Shakur said, channeling Crawford's mindset. "I beat all the guys y'all said I couldn't beat." When the new generation and the old guard agree, you know the decision is solid. The consensus is that Crawford has completed the game. There are no side quests left that are worth the damage.
I just want to speak about something that I feel like Bud kind of taught me, and I feel as though it's going to take me farther in life, and I feel like for the next generation and the kids that's coming up behind us to understand. It's one word that I've been thinking about when I wanted to speak about Bud. It's integrity. I feel like integrity is a strong word. I feel like it's bigger than money, it's bigger than fame, and I feel like Bud Crawford taught me integrity, and it's gonna last forever. So shout out to Bud, shout out to his family. I feel like his family did a great job with him. His coaches did a great job, and everybody surrounding him and supporting him made him into this genuine, strong human being. And I appreciate him for everything that he done for me. So shout out to Bud Crawford, shout out to Omaha, Nebraska, and it's all love.
However, Roy Jones Jr. is smart enough to know that retired in boxing rarely means forever. While he believes Crawford is done with the traditional sport, he did leave the door cracked open for one specific scenario: a crossover fight. Roy has hinted that if a massive, low-risk payday against a UFC star like Ilia Topuria presented itself, that might be the only thing to tempt Bud back. It's the Floyd Mayweather path, taking exhibitions or crossover events that pay millions without risking the 42-0 record against a young, hungry killer. It's a reward, not a contest.
Well, speaking of other fights out there, I know he tried to fight Jake Paul. He accepted a fight with him after the Tank Davis fight was canceled. Didn't get that, now retires. You think this is a little bit of a, he's upset he didn't get to fight and he's just taking his ball and going home?
Nothing wrong with that.
Jake apparently seems to think that fight is still a possibility of happening down the road, next year. I guess he's assuming he beats Jake Paul, because we just talked before, if Joshua dominates, what's it?
You said Jake Paul.
Yeah, Terence Crawford and Jake Paul.
Oh.
Jake seems to think there's a chance that he can fight him next year after he fights Anthony Joshua. So, we talked before that, we think, if Anthony smashed him, there's no more Jake Paul, really. Certainly not for Terence Crawford.
Right.
But do you think that's a fight that would be intriguing to Crawford to get him come out of retirement? If
it could be. I mean, it definitely could be. But I don't know. I mean, only Crawford knows, and he probably won't know until that offer comes to him.
I mean, doesn't it seem like it'd be a good fight to make for Crawford? I mean, you're going to make $1 bazillion, and it's a fight you think you should easily win, even given the size disparity, because you beat Canelo, so, why not Jake Paul? If you're going to get paid $30-40 million or whatever.
I mean, that's true. But with everyone, it's not just about money. Sometimes it's about your legacy and walking away and being considered one of the best.
Terence Crawford has left the sport on his own terms, a rarity in a game that usually chews its heroes up and spits them out. He listened to the whispers of history and the warnings of legends like Roy Jones Jr., avoiding the decline that claimed so many greats. He walks away 42-0, the conqueror of Canelo and the undisputed master of this era. Roy Jones Jr. isn't mourning the end of Crawford's career. He's celebrating the preservation of his perfection. The question now isn't why did he leave? It's, will we ever see anyone this good again? The bar has been set in the stratosphere, and for now, the ring belongs to the ghosts of the greats.
Terence Crawford retiring makes all the sense in the world to me. I mean, the guy has literally accomplished the biggest thing you can possibly accomplish in boxing, and that's being on Mount Rushmore. I mean, not only did he end on top by being the best fighter in the world, he is a long-lasting fighter. I mean, he's knocking on 39 years old. It's appropriate. Things that he's accomplished and everything that he's gone through as of late, as far as being stripped of the titles and everything like that. Listen, man, Terence Crawford is just, it makes sense for him to go ahead and bow out and say that I'm done. And he ends his career as being one of the greatest fighters to ever do it. So shout out to Terence Bud Crawford.
That's all from today's video. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned, and we will catch you in the next video.